yeah. Big broadcast. We're talking about Unk and Fuel. We're talking about the crew. We're talking about the homie, man. It's your homie. It's your nephew. Big stuff, but Big Baby J with
Yeah,
Unk
man.
Football right over there, man. We got to talk about a lot of games. We got to talk about a lot of good football. Unk, talk to the people. Like, comment, subscribe as y'all come in and y'all follow us. Unk, talk to us, brother. You know what I mean?
Wow, man. Well, you called it the
Yeah.
game of the year, right? Like Thursday night's game was just epic, right? We hinted at this coming down the pipe that Seattle
Yeah.
would face LA again as a division rivalry, and that it would sort out the division. And yeah, that was like ridiculous entertainment factor. Like it's just so good. It
I'm
was really
telling you,
wild game
bro.
that the Rams should have won, man. They were up 23-14 in the fourth quarter. Like they should have won that game. Their defense, their notorious defense, should have locked that down.
Hmm.
Stafford was lights out, almost perfect, right? Well, not really. Like he wasn't really super efficient in completions, but 29 for 49, but 457 yards, 3 TDs, 0 picks, and 0 sacks. These are like Kirk Cousins versus Tampa Bay kind of numbers, right?
Yeah, man. Exactly that.
like
Exactly that.
like big man.
Crazy.
And the Rams also committed 0 turnovers. They had a time of
Hmm.
possession that was like 40 and a half minutes, like 40 minutes, 33 seconds in a game that was only 67 minutes in length if you include the overtime.
I mean,
Um,
Unc, before you get started, I want to say this. Even though I made this title earlier, I want us to start with the other potential
oh, you
game
want to
of the
go
year.
there?
Let's start off with that one because I think it's more fresh of mind. You know what I'm saying? And then we're gonna go on the other game of the year. When I'm talking about the first potential game of the year, where it's actually pretty close, we're talking about the Chicago. I had to set Unc up, man. I'm sorry, Unc. You know what I mean? But let's talk about the other potential game. We're talking about the Chicago Bears versus the Green Bay Packers. And yes, here's the crazy part about this game. It was not Jordan Love. No, 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 no. It was different. It was led by Malik Willis. Yes,
Yeah.
Malik Willis versus, yeah, I know it's crazy, versus Caleb Williams with 250 passing yards by Caleb Williams, 2 touchdowns, especially the clutch touchdowns in the end of the fourth quarter and overtime. Malik Willis, yes, he played, who came in for Jordan Love for a concussion. Unc, let's start off with this game because I think this was potentially a game of the year, and then we'll actually talk about the full game of the year in a little bit. Unc, let me know your quick thoughts of this 22-16 Chicago victory. They're leading the NFC North, and they have a chance to actually win the entire NFC if they keep on winning out. Unc, talk to me, man.
Mhm. Well, Jordan Love suffered the same treatment as my first section of analysis. It got knocked the fuck out. So
Real talk. Yeah, real talk.
right?
Yes.
Oh my god!
Mm.
And it was a
Wow.
brutal head to head hit, but it really wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't the defense's fault on that. It wasn't the lineman's fault because like Jordan Love kind of
Yeah.
stepped into it, like he was trying to escape from what was happening behind him,
From the
and he
pocket. Yeah.
leaned into the guy. The guy was trying to put his head the other way, the way they do nowadays to avoid the hit, but Jordan
Right.
Love walked right into it, like. And boy, it was a hit too, man. You saw Jordan Love's head bounce. As soon as I saw the replay, I'm like, that's it. He's out. Right.
Yeah.
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 So, anyways, but Malik Willis came in and basically replicated what Jordan Love had done to that point. Right.
Yeah.
And Malik Willis showed us his wheels a couple different times. So, problem definitely was not Malik Willis in that game.
No,
It was the
no.
fact that Caleb Williams was much better. Caleb Williams was
Yes.
dynamite, right? Especially in the fourth quarter and the overtime. You talk about
Right.
whether this guy can perform under pressure. I really
Oh
believe
my
Caleb Williams has stepped up his game. He's matriculated,
God.
to that clutch kind of guy, man. Like,
Yeah.
and his speed and his
He's so
accuracy.
fast. So
Oh
fast,
man,
man.
like his
So
release
fast.
and whatnot. Like it's getting to be,
Yeah.
starting to remind me of Mahomes, especially a
Yes.
younger
A lot of people
Mahomes.
said that. Yeah, a
So
lot of people said
think
that.
I think Mahomes is really the template for Williams. He's got a really slippery release. The way he gets rid of it, it's very very accurate. And and under pressure, man, like give that kid credit. Like that was a playoff game in all respects, you know, a division rivalry, an island game, right, by its own, at home, national broadcast. I mean, there was a lot on the line. They had to face palm Green Bay in this drive to win the division, and they did it. Remember what we said 3 weeks ago about Chicago. If Chicago was going to win the NFC North, they would have to beat the NFC North. Well, they got off to a good start, and man, did they ever! Right, like every time you could tell that Green Bay was missing Micah Parsons. That much was obvious. But it didn't mean they didn't get after the guy. Man, they got after him. They got behind the line of scrimmage plenty, but Caleb got away from it. And was able to complete some just like amazing passes. That touchdown to win the game in overtime.
To win the game. Amazing throw.
Well, it was a breakdown in communication. It was a breakdown in communication because this guy, I've never even heard his name before. He was pulled up because of the injuries to Odunze and Luther Burden. Right? So this guy nobody's heard of.
DJ Moore? Wasn't it DJ Moore with the touchdown?
No, not to win the game. Hold on a second.
Yeah. I think it might have been DJ Moore to win the game.
Ja'Day Walker. No, it was Ja'Day Walker. Yeah, DJ Moore did have some great plays, right? So that's the next thing that's comforting. Is that
Ja'Day Walker for the fourth quarter touchdown, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the overtime.
Yes.
By the way,
pardon me. So I got I have those flipped. Okay, my bad. But you know, that one to Ja'Day Walker though, like was crazy because there was a breakdown in communication and Caleb picked up on it, skied the ball, right, and the guy went up and got it. Like he was all alone in the end zone, and Caleb's like, "Oh, wait, hold on. There's the way to go right here," and it was gorgeous, right?
Yeah. Right over here. This is the touchdown you're talking about, by the way.
Yeah.
I can't show the video for obvious reasons.
Of course.
Right.
But so Caleb was really performing when he had to. He executed when he had to. So the answer to the question, I believe, is that yes, Caleb can do it in the playoffs. The other question is like who he gets, right? Like we've noted that the NFC is going to be a really tough side. It's going to be a really tough out to have those 5, 6, and 7 teams in the NFC. But I don't think it's anybody they can't handle.
Man, I don't think it's anybody they can handle because they face.
It might be a rematch of this game.
This is going to happen again because even Caleb Williams at the end of the game, he said there's a chance we'll meet him again. I mean, that's low-key a preview of what's going to happen maybe a month from now because these are two of the best teams in the NFC, brother. Meaning they have a high chance of meeting each other maybe 2-3 weeks from now. In other words, Caleb and Chicago is ready for round 3. And keep in mind, Chicago at the end of the fourth quarter, maybe like 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, they were down 10 points. Pretty much. They were pretty much down 10 points.
They should have lost.
Romeo Dobbs muffed. Was it maybe a catch? It was an onside kick. Onside kick, yeah. Never work. And
he literally took his eye off the ball.
Yes, sir.
He literally took his eye off the ball. You can see in the replay. The camera angle on the replay is perfect, right? Because it really looks into his face, and you can literally see his eyes move upfield, like where am I going to go next?
Yes.
Ball wasn't with him anyway.
Romeo Dobbs actually had a good game for the Packers. He actually was very dominant, and that was the difference. Something that I got to give credit again to Chicago. They're very good at turning the football over, bro. And I think that's going to matter.
Crucial turnovers.
And for me, my point about Chicago, this might have been maybe their third or fourth, maybe fourth quarter comeback. They come back in the fourth quarter. They are 11-4 going into the play. Wow.
And this is my point, man. Like this team can win. And that's different from just a good football team. They're a good football team, right? But lots of good football teams can't win when they have to or don't, right? But this team looks like it can. I'm excited.
Man, it's gonna be crazy because I think pretty much with this game, they might have knocked off Detroit. I don't think if Detroit can come back. I'm like, damn, how can Detroit round back from this type of loss? My
Well,
overall point though is, was this potentially a game of the year, or was it? I don't think it was as good as the Seahawks versus the Los Angeles Rams, because we did what?
one last point. One last point
Talk to
on
me on
Chicago. We've noted
what?
before too, but like that two-headed running game with Monungai and Swift is just devastating.
Yes.
Monungai was a receiver in this game finally too, but his
Mm,
runs up the gut were killing the Packers, just killing them.
yes.
Right? He looks like he's going to be devastating the more carries he gets going forward in the playoffs. Right? So, anyway, sorry.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. I think what Chicago realized is, which is smart. I'm giving Ben Johnson his credit. He realizes that when you lean on the running game and you don't force Caleb to do too much,
Right.
that's a win. Because if you put it on Manangai and Swift's hands or their back, they do really well. And I'm giving you this credit. In the playoffs, you need a strong defense and you need to have a solid run game. Manangai and Swift have been amazing for Chicago. Let's be real, Unc. What's the last time you saw such a dominant Chicago team? It's been a long time, man.
Well, as dominant as they were last night, last time I saw a good Chicago team like that would I'm not gonna say Cutler's Bears. I'm gonna have to go
Mm,
back, man. I'm gonna have to go to the Monsters of the Midway. Seriously, it's got to be
wow.
that '80s team, and this team
Wow.
isn't that.
That's what I'm saying, man. You're looking at an 11-4 Chicago team. The irony, by the way, just a quick trivia. There's a chance that they won't even be in Chicago. They're talking about negotiations of actually having it
I
in
heard that.
Indiana. What the hell? Indiana, Chicago
I
Bears? What?
I just cannot believe that they're unwilling
Crazy.
to go forward with Soldier
Yeah.
Field. It's like a museum, that place. It's a coliseum of football. Literally, it's a
Yeah.
cathedral. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, like and to take it out of the city, to take it out of Cook County seems
Right.
egregious. To take it out of to cross state lines, like I get it. It's just a matter of geography, but to actually cross state lines into Indiana would be, I don't know. It's just a sin, man.
It's super weird concerning, like you said, the history of the Chicago Bears. It's one of the legacy teams in the league. And talking
Hmm.
about legacy teams, man, I think the Rams as a total entity are a legacy team too. They were in LA, they were in Seattle, St. Louis, my mistake. But it doesn't matter what happens in LA, man. LA met Sam Darnold, bro. What? What
I
the
know,
hell?
right?
LA
And
met
he had the
Sam
worst night.
Darnold.
He had
What
of the
the
two
hell?
quarterbacks, he had the worst night.
Horrible statistical night, but guess what? It don't matter how you start, it matters how you finish. We're
Yeah.
talking about Sam Darnold hitting 270 yards of passing, two touchdowns, came in the fourth and the overtime period. Two interceptions came throughout the game. And with Matthew Stafford having a legacy game, MVP game, 400, yes, 457 yards, three touchdown, no picks. And here's the craziest stat: Puka Nacua, y'all. Yes, Puka, the man who came with 225 receiving yards on 12 catches, two touchdowns. He was dusting. We're talking about destroying the
Yeah.
entire Seattle secondary, one of the best defenses in the league. And guess what? That did not matter. Why
It
did it
wasn't
matter?
enough.
Because wasn't enough because Seattle put up 38 points and the Rams put up 27. Unk, I personally believe just watching this game, this was one of the best football games I've ever seen. This is why we love the league. This is why we love the game. Unk,
Yeah.
give us your expertise. Give
That's
us your
very
breakdown.
much.
We've been wanting to hear your breakdown, Unk. Talk to us.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Mm,
this game absolutely demonstrates why we watch these games through to the fourth quarter, right? Because
yeah.
going into the fourth quarter, I had every confidence that LA was doing all the things right, and it was going to come out victorious, and that it was, to me, that this was logical, right?
Yes.
But
Yes, it was
you know,
logical. You're correct.
it was this to me was the logical outcome, right? We'd seen Seattle be less than inspiring in recent weeks, and that it was only a matter of time before, in this head-to-head showdown, LA eventually did the inevitable, won the division out, showed their class, et cetera, et cetera. All of which they were doing for the first 45 minutes, right? Even
Yeah,
the first 52 minutes of the game, they did all of those things, right?
all of them. Everything.
And then we had, but this is what it came down to, and this is why Chase Blackburn is out of a job, right? This
Oh,
is the third time this year in this remarkable season for the LA Rams where special teams have let them down, and this was
yeah.
probably the most egregious example. They could not stop a 2-point conversion. They could not stop all
Yes.
three of the 2-point conversions that were attempted by
Right.
Seattle, right? So there's 3 points right there, or if they'd stopped them, that's 6 points right there in their favor, right?
Yeah,
And
you're right.
and there've been other examples, botched field goal attempts, I should say, in earlier games. So this is the third game of their 4
Right.
losses that should be noted that are attributable to special teams. So yeah, man, Chase Blackburn's out of a job. That this game cost him his job. All right,
Right.
so.
In general, man, you're talking about a team that's so dominant. We're talking about the LA Rams that the thing about football is that every phase of the game matters. Remember
Mhm.
a few weeks ago, you and me, Unc, we're talking about the Eagles being a team of destiny with this blocked field goal, right? To
Yeah,
beat the LA Rams. Well, that was a special teams play. You know what I mean? The
5
reason
point.
that
Yep.
the Seattle Seahawks won the game is majorly part of Rashid Shaheed. That
Mhm.
definite that
He kicked
return
off the
touchdown,
rally.
he kicked off the rally and put them in position to win. I think the Seahawks
Again,
like put up like
special
maybe like
teams failure, right?
exactly. I think they put up maybe like 15 or 16 some points in like 3 or 4 minutes due to the special teams collapsing. And in general, you're looking at a squad. I'm talking about the Rams here that could get, unfortunately, beat in the playoffs because of bad special teams. And let me give you this: the Seahawks, they stayed pure, they stayed solid, and they stayed focused. And again, let me say this: Sam Darnold, we had so many questions about him, but he quieted us down, brother, especially in the fourth quarter and the overtime. Unc, talk to us about Sam Darnold's performance.
Well, he's been criticized as not being able to, to win big games, to get the yips in
Yeah,
big games. So he kind of quieted those critics with this game. Like, he just hung in there, because what's the biggest thing about making mistakes and turnovers, sacks? What's the most important thing about that? Forgetting about
mm,
them immediately
yeah,
and walking back into the huddle and saying, "All right, fuck that. This is what we're going to do next." Right? Like,
yeah,
that's what a leader does. You have to be like, you cannot have an elephantine memory if you're a quarterback. Like,
real
you just
talk.
have to forget about it, wipe the slate clean. This is a new day, this play, right? And guys like Mahomes do that, right? We've seen that among all the
Yeah,
champs, right? Like, they screw up and just shrug it off, and away we go, right? And
right.
he did that. We saw that. So rather than completely collapse and implode after making critical mistakes like that and being in that position where you were losing, no, man, he rallied. So that narrative that, oh, here we go, it's Sam Darnold time late in the season.
Mhm.
Here comes the collapse because of what happened last year.
Yes,
There
you're
may
right.
be some chinks in that particular narrative.
And I want to say this: Sam Darnold has an opportunity to go 2 seasons of 14 wins, man. You know what I mean? He had
That's right.
14 wins in Minnesota. Maybe gonna have 14 wins again. That's impressive, man. You know what I mean? And
Well,
no matter how he ended the season last year, still 14 wins is 14 wins, y'all. You know what I mean?
on 2 different clubs,
Two
right?
different thank you.
One of
Two
which
different clubs. Ooh,
One of those clubs is also now
ooh.
4-10 this year without his services. Same team,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Now, the other thing I
Mm,
should be noted too is that he was well supported in the run game.
Yes.
Walker the third, very good night. Wasn't huge for some, but he was very, very confident. He also had 64 yards and a TD receiving, right? So
Yes.
all around good game there. And the Zach Charbonnet truthers were rewarded with a a rushing touchdown.
Two
So
point conversion. There was a 2 point conversion. That was like
a
that was such a
2 point
weird
conversion,
two
yeah, pardon
point.
me, the 2 point conversion, but still, he got
Yeah.
like he had a good night running too, right? So
Right.
yeah,
I'll give him that credit, but let me tell you, the star of the night, man. But let's not bury the story. I'm not gonna bury the story. Puka Nakua, man. Is
yeah,
he the best receiver in the league? Because here's the irony: the number one receiver statistically in the league, JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba, was being
hmm
outplayed, brother. Outplayed and dominated. 225 yards on 12 catches, man. And by the
yeah,
way, there were more catches that he could have had if Matt Stafford maybe placed the ball a little softer. I think he had like that kind of go route or maybe
right.
that corner route, something like that. Either way, man, you saw a man possessed on Thursday Night Football against, let me keep it real, the Seahawks is an amazing defense. He played possessed. Unc, tell us about Puka, man. I think he might be the best receiver in the league, man. Talk to us.
I
Mm,
certainly by the eye test for sure. But
yeah.
here's the big test: is the history test, right? Who does this guy
Right.
remind me of? And I'm sorry, man, this guy reminds me of Jerry Rice because of his
Wow.
ability to run after the catch, for his
Yes.
ability to make it seemingly impossible catches.
Yes.
Because everybody thinks of Jerry Rice as super poetry, emotion, all that type of stuff. But Jerry Rice was actually a very hardworking receiver, right? He didn't just get all
Yes.
bombs, right? He wasn't a fly guy, a go route guy necessarily. He
No.
could be if you wanted him to be, because he wasn't the speediest guy out there. What he was
No,
a
it wasn't.
precision route runner who was
Yeah.
capable of yak yards after the catch. The term was invented in his wake. Um,
Yep.
Right. So that's who Puka Nakua is in my estimation. And there aren't many receivers over the last 40 years that have made me pull out the Jerry Rice card.
Man.
But Puka's the one who does it. So that gives me an immediate check mark for best receiver in the league and in his generation, etc. But I ran the numbers just because that's the kind of nerd I am. Um, and this
Mm,
year's competition for best receiver in the league is between these two guys. It's
yeah.
not even really that close, right? JSN is number one overall in yards. He's got 1,637 yards already. Puka's
Crazy.
just shy of 1,600. He's got 1,592. But Puka
Mm,
has more yards per game at 114 yards per game versus JSN's 109. Puka's got 8 TDs. JSN's got 10 TDs, but it's more fluky than anything, right?
correct.
Puka has 14 yards per catch on average. JSN has almost 16 yards, 15.7. So technically speaking, you could make the argument that JSN is actually the better receiver, but I won't.
Correct.
Just because
Me
I think
neither.
Nakua is it's just so exciting after he catches the ball. Yeah.
One thing about Nakua too is that he makes some athletic, amazing catches. I think he had one catch a few weeks ago where it fell kind of in the corner's hand and he dragged it out of the corner's hand. Potential catch of the year. And
Yeah, it is.
Nakua
Oh, it
just
is.
keeps on going. It was such an
Yeah.
amazing athletic catch. And
Yeah,
I'm
we
like,
talked
brother,
about
this
that.
is the best
We
receiver.
talked
Did
about
we
that
talk
because
about that?
he had to
Yeah, we
double
did.
clutch it with the one hand. Yeah, and like take it from the guy, bobble it, and then like
Mhm.
press it against his thigh as he was
Yes.
falling to the ground. Right? It's just amazing.
Yes, I think this was the catch right here. We have photos of it. It was against Carolina. Ironically, the Rams lost that one. Crazy,
Yeah,
but you know what I mean. We're talking about a potential catch of the year, and he does this weekly, man. Weekly. The issue, I
that's
think,
why I'm saying he's like
specifically,
Rice.
crazy, brother. And the thing specifically, they missed Devontae out there. I could feel it
Big
because they were
time.
overloading on Puka. And doesn't matter, double teaming him, he still was making crazy catches. Unc, how does this affect the playoffs? Just quickly
Mm,
asking you, because now the Seahawks are first place in that division.
that's
And
right.
now they have a essentially an easy pass to getting that number one seed. Tell me your thoughts, man. I mean,
Well, that's exactly what it boils down to. We said this game would decide the division, so it pretty much looks like the Rams are going to be the wild card team. What a wild card team! Whoa,
wild card.
Right. And so, which means so that means that they're going to go up against like Tampa Bay, probably, and
maybe Carolina,
but maybe Carolina. But so they're going to get the best of the NFC South, and like, but hey, Carolina beat them, so it's like you can't really talk shit.
Yes, it did.
The NFL, but I think that LA is going to be just super tough for whatever NFC team goes up against them.
I'm just gonna say a personal note, man. I don't know what's going on with Al Michaels. He was calling that game of Kirk Herbstreit. Horrible announcing, man.
Oh, people have been saying that for years.
I'm like, what? Like, no enthusiasm, no energy. I'm like,
he's over 80 years old now, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, because remember, this is the same guy who 45 years ago gave you, do you believe in miracles, right?
Right.
Like that's the exact opposite of what we're getting on a nightly basis with Al Michaels. He's just, he's like, it's not a shame to retire, man. Like,
you know what? I'm in my mind. I'm like, there's definitely some younger guys out there in the bullpen who can give us some more energy. That game was amazing, brother. And I'm like, I was getting Al Michaels. It sounded like the man wanted to go to sleep. I'm like, this is like the game.
Yeah, like he was up past his bedtime.
Yeah.
Which I guarantee you he was.
and Kirk was doing his best, having a lot of fun because it felt like a college football game, brother. It was so up and down. It was like, wow, you know what I mean? So that was just a personal note for me.
Put it this way. Like Herbstreit is your classic American conservative broadcaster. He is from that tradition and he respects it, right? Yes. And yet, and Michaels is doing the same thing. But the thing is, it's like, if you don't have an energy that comes through that, right? Aikman's had it for years, right? Soft spoken, but like you never doubt the energy behind the thoughts, the thinking, and the analysis, right? It's quick, it's pointed, whatever, even if he's not exuberant, right? Garrett's the same way too, right? But there's like an energy that comes through that Michaels used to have that he no longer has.
And you know what? I respect him as a broadcaster, but man, unfortunately, that was the only bad part of the entire broadcast because I had a lot of fun watching that game.
Wake up, Grandpa!
Real talk. And guess what? Somebody could be on Grandpa mode. We're talking about the 29-year-old, younger than me, Joe freaking Burrow. And why do I say that?
Riding off in the sunset, retired.
I'm telling you that he's on his Andrew Luck-ish, man. We're talking about them. The Burrow-led Bengals getting absolutely demolished, 24-0. I had a reason to smile last Sunday, Unc, for some reason, finally. But Unc, in general, when I saw the Bengals play, they looked like they were out of it. They were not feeling that game. They were not down. Joe Burrow with 25 yards, 2 picks, looking absolutely horrible. And why do I bring this subject up is because about a week ago, the man was saying that he was not feeling the passion or the love of the game. You and me have talked about our shared dislike of Mr. Joe Burrow, but this is a spoiled rich kid who doesn't like the fact that his team is ass, bro. Let's just talk about it. Uncle, let me know.
Well, first thing, shout out to the Ravens defense who seem to be forming into some better shape than they have exhibited so far this season. So let's not just gloss over the fact that the Ravens pitched a shutout on defense. Like that's rare against this team, right? So yeah. Now, as for Mr. Burrows, this is a little bit layered, I think, and you have to listen to all his words. Yeah, my first reaction when I was reacting to it in real time last week, I was saying like, "Whoa, look out, man! Like Cincinnati's officially on a point. Like this is a red flag. Like you guys have the clock is ticking on you solving this problem and addressing Mr. Burrow's needs." But having looked into it more, and you have to parse his comments, right? Because at no point does he actually throw anybody under the bus except himself for missing time. Right? He's missed, what's the number? Like 12 starts or something like this over the last 3 years, which is the period in question, which he's like ultimately complaining about because no playoffs and, no division wins, etc. Uncompetitive. So anyway, so he's the only person he actually throws under the bus and all of that. He actually, he endorses the coaches, and he even goes so far as to say that he doesn't, disagree with the front office. So he's not really carrying on in any kind of petulant way. It's just sort of, but he likes to talk where most people would have just said, that everybody has my support. We're just going to have to do better. It's on me. I'm the QB, the standard kind of media junket, right? But instead, Joe's like, well, now that you asked, let me, he gets into it, right? And so I actually kind of respect him for that, because if you really go through his comments, like all he's really doing, I think, is prodding the front office. Because if you look at him over the years, he did the same thing last year. He was public last year about re-signing Gesicki, about re-signing Hendrickson, about re-signing both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Do you know how many people wanted T. Higgins last year?
A ton, man. Ravens were talking to him too, man. Yeah,
Steelers, like anybody who needed a receiver was like, "Come on, bro, you don't need two," right?
Yeah, right,
right. So, but no. Mr. Burrow suggested politely that all these people should be re-signed, and they did, right? It left them no money to sign a defensive front or anything like that. So that's kind of on Joe in a way too, right? Like, Joe, maybe you should lobby for the defense, right? But anyways, because the long and the short of this is that this is Cincinnati. He's under contract until 2029, I think. The offensive coordinator's under contract till 2027. Like, everybody's coming back. The band is all together for 2026, man. Like, no real big changes are being made up with the coaches, and certainly not in the front office, right? So, and you're dealing with Mike Brown, second generation Bengals owner, right?
Yeah.
And if you think for a second that Mike Brown is afraid to lose, I have news for you. He is unafraid to lose. So if he's not afraid of Joe Burrow retiring, Joe Burrow has also been emphatic that he does not want to do the Andrew Luck thing and retire. The more analogous example would be Carson Palmer, who was a Cincinnati Bengal, right? Who is in the exact same situation that Burrow finds himself in right now. And Mike Brown shrugged his shoulders at all of it, right? And decided to roll the dice with Andy Dalton.
I mean, here's the crazy part. You're talking about a guy, Carson Palmer, who finally left the Bengals and actually was way more successful in Arizona, right?
And the Raiders.
And he did pretty good with the Raiders too around the end of his career. By the way, also a number one overall pick, like Joe Burrow, also number 9 for the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm talking about history repeating itself, because guess what? Doesn't matter if the Bengals can put up 30 points, they're going to give up 35, 40 points because of that horrible defense, man. And it's the opposite of what we saw with Seattle, the opposite of what we saw with Chicago, teams that break down, man. And for me, I'm just being real with you. I saw some Andrew Luck vibes, because I remember Andrew Luck for the Indianapolis Colts. He spent so many seasons or so much time on the sidelines due to injury. Let me tell you something, man. Joe Burrow, I don't know what it is. Maybe there's a crazy stat. The man has spent a lot of times on the sidelines, man. A lot of time. I don't think he's completed a lot of full seasons, man. You know what I mean?
That's correct.
So in general, I'm saying that we got to watch this story because I think it can balloon into something really big in the upcoming seasons, my man.
Did
You know
you
what I mean?
hear? Did you hear
Mm,
that crazy story
mm.
rumor that Miami offered 4 first-round picks for Joe
Oh,
Burrow
what? For
in the
real?
2019 or 2020 draft, or whatever it was that he got drafted?
What?
Yeah,
What? Are you serious?
I'm serious, man. Four first
Wow.
round picks they offered, and Cincinnati
Wow.
said, "Nah, we want Joey."
What are we
So
doing here? I think they
they
benched
could have
Tua.
built,
I
they
think,
could have
yeah.
built, they could have built that franchise into a juggernaut with 4 first-round picks.
Oh my God, man. I'm telling you right now, it sounds like a
Plus their
crazy
own.
trade, but why not? Why not? Because guess what? The freaking by the way, shout out to your Steelers. Your Steelers decimated the Miami Dolphins. Let's touch on that right quick. I didn't expect us to touch on that. But man, as a Steeler fan, how did you feel about that Dolphins versus Steelers game? We're talking about the return of Tua in cold weather, and I think maybe the end of Tua. Tell me your quick hits on this one, man. Yeah.
Quinn
Oh,
Ewers is
Rogers.
starting today.
Yes, he is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I'll give you 3 guesses, buddy, and the first 2 don't count about what my reaction was to that game. It was like, yeah, boss. Yeah, dude, this is what we do. We're Steelers, right? So,
Yes, sir. Yes,
again,
sir.
an ugly win, but a win's a win. And, Steelers, to their credit, put lockdown on whatever offense Miami brought to the game. So it was a fun watch because I'm a Steelers fan, right? And they
Yes, sir.
covered, right? So,
Yes.
um, beyond that, I don't know what to say exactly. I wish they'd get rid of that double black on gold uniform or whatever they call it, heritage uniform. Like just stick with your basic stuff. Bury the bumblebee
Yeah.
thing. But beyond that, I was just like, great. For once, Steelers just did what they had to do. Their long-term record on Monday nights is pretty devastating. Like that's sort of what they
Oh,
do. But this was a season where the Steelers have not always done what you're supposed to do as Steelers. So good to see that.
by the way, big shout out to Jalen Ramsey coming back, getting revenge on his former team, and
Yeah,
looking
dude.
really good. Jalen Ramsey had a game, by the way. I really enjoyed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One of my favorite acquisitions.
Small heads up again. This is a horrible week for Green Bay Packers fan. We're
Woo.
lucky that our boy Rob is not in the chat because Rob is a big Green Bay fan. I was texting him throughout, talking about the
I
Denver
was watching
Broncos.
that. Sorry, I was watching the
Yeah.
game last night with a huge Packers fan, man. He
No,
was
for
vexed
real?
at me when I told. He was vexed at me when I told him I was going with Chicago to cover at least, right?
Oh shit. Oh
And he
shit.
was buying the
Hey.
drinks.
Hey man, if you buying the drinks, man, you gotta find a way to drown your sorrows because Packers fans
Well,
are sad
I'm just
because
saying,
they're
man.
listening. Talk to
This
me,
guy
yeah.
was covering my bar tab, and I'm like, yeah, no, Chicago's going to win this game. Big Packers fan.
Look at Unc trolling. I like the rage bait, man. By the way, let's
I
talk
didn't
about Bo
intend
Nix.
to. I was just talking facts, right? I
Mm,
forgot how deeply
no,
invested he was in the Packers.
and you were spitting facts for real because in the less than a week period, the Packers have been lost 2 games. By the way,
Two
big fact.
huge games.
Huge fact.
Yeah,
That's such a fact. Huge games. Keep in mind, they lost Michael Parsons in this game. And let me tell you this. If Michael Parsons was in that Chicago game, I have a feeling he'd make a
it would have
crazy
been.
clutch
Yeah,
play. You're talking
yeah.
about a
There would have
third
been at
and
least
more.
one play somewhere where he just blew it all up, and who knows which of those scoring plays it might have been on.
Maybe a fourth down play. I'm telling you. And by the way, I want to give again a heads up to the comeback kids. Yes, the Denver
They
Broncos
did
with
it again.
another second half comeback. When have we heard that before, Unc? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Second half comeback
Yeah.
against the Packers. The Packers were dominating the first half. Let me
Hmm.
know your thoughts on the Bo Nix 4 touchdown game with an amazing performance by the defense, especially in the second half. Mhm.
I had to rewatch the highlights just to remind
Mm,
myself of exactly how well Bo Nix executed in this game because he really
it's
really did.
amazing.
The criticism on him to this point is that he hasn't
Right.
been able to get the ball downfield. You know, and in this game, he averaged over 13 yards of completion. That's humming along, right? And how many multiple 20-yard plus catches downfield when they clutch catches when they really mattered. Like, and he had three receivers. I got the stats for you right here. He had three different receivers that had like double digits, like over 12, 14 yards per catch, like Sutton, Humphreys, and third guy in there. And
Mm.
plus, who's another guy in there? Brady had one catch for 20 yards, but what a catch, right? It's like for a TD.
Yeah. I think it
And
was Marvin Mims. No, no, no. It was yeah, it was somebody else. My mistake. Yeah, yeah.
it's
It
and
was
he didn't run that much at all.
it's Michael Brandy. Michael Brandy. He
Michael
had that
Bandy,
one
right?
catch. Yeah, there you go, Michael Bandy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he did
Yes,
not
he didn't
have
run
to
that much.
run that much.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Right, which is what we were saying. Like Bo Nix is all legs, no commitment downfield, right? But this time again, like people must be putting the bug in these people's ears, right? I guess Broncos just working and working every week to get better and better because this is way different than like the 18-15 wins that they eked out earlier on in the season. This was decisive, right? They scored some points.
Yeah.
They really showed. They really looked like one of the best teams in the league, defeating the Packers, who were also calling, one of the best teams in the league. Like this game there was a lot on the line, right? That was two of our top 5 or 6 teams. I can't remember. I don't think we
Mhm.
had. I think Green Bay had fallen out of our top 5 by last week,
But
but like the
yeah, they
Broncos
fell
have
out a bit.
solidly been in it for weeks, right? So
Yes.
this was a game with a lot on the line, and so like to me, it was just a statement game. Statement game by Denver. That's my comments right here. Yeah, Knicks and the Broncos gave us a statement win. All right, that's
Yeah.
the best. That's the best way to describe it. Knicks was 23 for 34, 4 TDs, clean sheet, right? Sutton, Franklin, and Humphreys all had over 14 yards per carry. We're 16 for 241 as a group. And here's my one
Wow.
comment too, right? Did you see that one play where Knicks looked like he was sort of pumped, he was faking, and then it looked like he was just going to run it out of bounds. And at the last
Yes, I
second, he
remember that
flicked
play.
his wrist. That was for a
Yes.
first down. It was only 10 or 11 yards, but he
Yes.
had me fooled to the last second. I thought for sure he was running out of bounds, but that little trickery right there, that's next level, man.
I'm telling you, man, what they're doing down there in Denver, Colorado is really good. And people have accused, even me, low key in the back of my mind, I kind of accused Sean Payton of hiding Bo Nix. In other words, giving him
Yeah,
easy
being
plays,
afraid to
easy
take the
things.
wheels off.
Yeah, not giving him too much, but guess what? In this game, he said, Bo Nix, go out and do your thing. And Bo Nix
He
exposed
did.
the lacking secondary of the Green Bay Packers, and he played great. And that receiving core, I've been telling you, Unc, I believe in Denver. I saw so many examples. I'm like, I'm a believer, man. I'm a believer, low key. You know what
Well,
I mean?
which one of
Mm,
those guys, what of those receivers in there? One of them used to play
mm.
at Oregon, where Bo Nix spent 18 glorious years playing college football.
Yeah,
So
I think so. Maybe Marvin Bims or Troy Francis. I'm gonna
yeah,
check. I'll get
but
back to you. Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
there's numerous levels of connection on that with that receiving core, right? If you look at the stat sheet, it's ridiculous how many receivers caught balls in that game. Again, the sign of a
Yes.
very dynamic and diverse offense.
I'm telling you right now, man, there's something to deal with. And yes, by the way, it was Troy Franklin that I'm talking about, who spent some time in Oregon. We're gonna talk about Oregon a bit later. But before we talk about Oregon, man, we gotta talk about Old Man Rivers. Yes, Old Man Rivers. Talking about simply like the Disney story, I guess the Cinderella story of the league. 44-year-old Philip Rivers. And by the way, Unc, you know me, I'm a conspiracy guy. Allegedly, the NFL has an insurance policy that passes out 5 years after you retire. Guess what? Philip Rivers was retired in 2020, my mistake. 5 years ago, he got back in the league with his 10 kids right before his insurance policy passes out. And guess what? It restarts now. It restarts because he's an active NFL player. Yes. The 44-year-old, 10 children
That's
having
hilarious.
Grandpa Rivers has come back to the NFL and almost beat the Seahawks. If you watch the game, or
You
at
know
least
what,
highlights, it looked like they should
dude?
have won.
Dude,
Talk to us.
now that I think about that, like, I
Mm,
don't care how many millions of dollars you made as a professional football player. You got
yeah,
10 kids. Like, you need
and
that good insurance, man. Like,
real talk.
you can't
Real
be just
talk.
running around out here with Obamacare and shit, right? So
Nah,
he
you need
wants that
support.
gold-plated insurance for them 10 kids, and I don't really blame him. We were just
Um,
talking about, oh my God, right? He's going to restart his 5-year Hall of Fame retirement clock again. Who knew
correct.
the inside angle? Only you. Only you knew this. And it makes perfect sense to me. I don't think it's a conspiracy theory at all.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
That said,
conspiracy.
that
Yeah.
said, I think this whole
Mm.
thing is just pointless and ridiculous. Like, I just don't
Oh,
understand why they're doing it. Like, what is
okay.
going
Talk to me
on?
now.
What is going on that Riley Leonard is such an inferior option to putting this guy out
Mm,
here? Like, it doesn't
right,
make any sense to me. Like, if you look at his stats, look at that game
right,
where he came in to replace Daniel Jones, right? The
right,
guy went
right.
18 for 29, 145 yards, a rushing TD, one
Mm,
interception, and one sack. Well, let's
right,
compare that with Mr. Rivers' entire game against well noted the Seattle defense. Yes, tough
right.
defense. But
Mm,
let's just take a look at that game.
mm.
18 for 27, 120 yards, one pick, one sack, zero rushing yards, of course. So,
Of course.
like, how is
Mm,
this a serious improvement over Riley Leonard? Like, it ain't.
mm.
And I don't understand why they're doing this, why they're humiliating this kid in this way. Like, why is he on the
Yeah.
roster?
I did some research, and I believe Rivers has a relationship with Shane Steichen. I believe maybe he dealt with him a few years ago while he
Yeah,
was
that's
with
what
the
they're saying, that
Chargers.
he knows the offense. But guess who else
Yeah,
knows the offense because he goes to meetings every freaking week? His name is Riley Leonard, right? He's been
Riley
doing it
Leonard.
for like 3 years. Shane
Fair
Steichen's
play. Fair
system,
play.
right? And here's the next
Correct.
thing too, right? And here's the next
Mm,
thing too, is that Anthony Richardson is now officially
mm,
the 21-day window has been open for his return, so that's on the table too. And the
oh,
question that the Indianapolis Colts have to really ask themselves: are they willing to continue to retard their QB
mm,
development process for this? Right?
mm,
Like we've noted repeatedly that, like, guys, it was a brilliant first 8 games of the season. It was a nice attempt. You got
correct.
nipped up by the injury bug. You tried to fix it up with that trade to Sauce Gardner.
Mm,
Hasn't solved the problem. Now you're doing this. Like, just throw in the towel, man. It's not your season. It's not happening. You did good things, and there's a lot of good positive reasons to feel good going forward with this team for 2026. But yo, dude, you've got like both the Texans and the Jaguars on top of you. You ain't finna get through them.
mm. Fair point. Fair points, Unc. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. I think it was still a good play. I'll tell you why. At least my opinion, because
Because
what
of
they
the
saw
insurance.
is the insurance. Hey, let's start off with the insurance. That's a good play for him, for Mr. Old Man Rivers. But I think maybe they saw something in practice they didn't like about Riley Leonard. Maybe they
Clearly.
saw something.
Obviously, that has to
Yeah,
be the case. Yeah.
they saw something they didn't like from AR. So much so that they
Well,
said
that's been well
Philip
documented
Rivers
as
on the
well.
couch. There you go. They
The
saw.
most
They said
fortunate
Philip.
IR ever.
That's what I'm saying. They were like, yo, we're gonna call him from the couch to come through. I'm not saying that the man looked like crime, you know what I'm saying, Tom Brady, but guess what? The offense was flowing. It was not looking amazing, but it was flowing. And keep in mind, the Colts are on a 4 or 5 game
Well, they were
losing
playing
streak.
Seattle, and Taylor got
Yeah.
locked down. So
Yeah, yeah. So for me, I'm saying go for broke, man, because you had a season where you were the number one team in the entire league, and now you're on a 4 or 5 game winning streak. The Jags looking like the second coming of whatever. You know what I'm saying? Might as well go for broke. Go for broke, man.
But the
Go
thing
all out.
is,
For me, I approve of it. Just my personal opinion.
my point is
Mm,
that you already went for broke and it came up snake eyes. Ain't no more money ain't no more money in the pockets, right? You got to step away from the
right.
table, Holmes.
Hey man, that's true. Maybe you got to spend some time away from that crap stable. You know what I'm saying? You putting a lot with too much chip
time
on
to
your
just
dip.
time to just go to the bar and have a drink
Yeah.
with whatever money you got left. Like seriously, like step away from the table, Indianapolis.
Well, we're gonna see what happens later on this week because I'm telling you, this slate of games for the Colts are every game is
Very
important
unforgiving.
as they go towards the end of the season. And in general, I think it's gonna be very interesting to see how they come out and how they fare out just to
Well,
close it out. You know what I
if
mean?
there's one guy who could beat the odds and just somehow make this whole thing have a happy ending, I suppose it's Philip Rivers. It's just one of those guys, right? It's just one of these
Yes,
guys.
sir.
Like you said, he's like a Disney character. um,
Hey, mhm.
so, anyways, but I personally, if I was the management professionals in Indianapolis, like I would be just like, you got to run Riley Leonard out there. It's why he's on the roster.
Right.
You want to see him continue to develop. Like it just, you just got to take your
Mhm.
licks at this point. Like I disagree with you on that point. I really believe they need to step
Okay.
away from the table, as I say, put Riley Leonard in there, and just like he might surprise you. You don't know. Let him try. It's why
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
drafted him. It's why you're developing him. This puts a cap on his development.
Definitely, we'll see what happens. Me and Unc disagree slightly, but guess what? This is why we watch the games. We'll see if what happens happens, and we'll see what
I've
what
been made
what
a
what.
liar all season long, but it's wacky, crazy NFL season.
So wacky. Fantasy football is a bit wacky too, man. And me and Unc thought about it. We're like, hey, man, we struggle. But guess what? We can talk about some of our MVPs or some of our
Sure.
prime players throughout the season. And for me, I'll just go quickly, just off the top. There's some people I listed off, you know what I mean? Obviously, for me, the number one, I think, at least in RPPR, I think was Matt Stafford, man. He was killing it throughout the season. Jonathan Taylor was really good this season for me or for everybody in general. McCaffrey, the usual suspect. Surprise for me though, Jahmyr Gibbs played amazing this season. And obviously JSN, Puka, these are people that just quickly come to mind.
Yeah.
Bo Nix and Bijan Robinson, especially around the tail end, Devon Achan came clutch. So fantasy football, these are some of our people or players that we circle down as our MVPs, as our great players. Unc, who are your MVPs or prime players throughout this fantasy season, Unc?
Well, I
You know
mean,
what
you talk about people who really exceeded their draft position. Talk about Devon
I mean?
Achane, right? I mean, especially with the
Yes,
season
sir.
Miami had, like I was petrified about drafting
Mhm.
Achane because we talked about it early in the year because he's slight frame and it wasn't
Yeah.
sustainable, and they've got Ollie Gordon in the backfield. Like, would he drop off? And no, he was the one fantasy highlight week to week to week. He was incredibly
Yeah.
reliable.
Yeah.
So he overperformed his draft position. So that makes him definitely very valuable. But as far as
Mhm.
MVP goes, to me, the MVP is the guy who, dominated at the position, who had the most points in the position. So this is actually a pretty easy exercise for me.
Mm.
I had Taylor and CMC. CMC, man, he was on injury
Yeah.
watch all year long. I thought for sure he was
Crazy.
going down, man. I'm sitting there with Brian Robinson on my bench like all year long. Like, come on, I know it's coming, right? But he didn't, right? So that's really
No, not at
encouraging.
all.
So
Yeah.
that's 2 out of the last 3 seasons where he's had complete seasons and rewarded fantasy owners for drafting him. He actually overperformed at his draft position because a lot of people were like, he was being drafted deeper in the first round than we've ever seen before.
Right.
So CMC
Right.
really, he's a real MVP that way. And we talked about Taylor's rebound earlier in the season. At wide
Mhm.
receiver, yeah, it's unquestioned, right? Nakua and JSN by far largest
Right.
standouts at their position. So if you had either of those two assets, Nakua was drafted about where he should be, but JSN was a value bargain this year for people who drafted him. So he rewarded those fantasy owners that did their homework and trusted Sam
Mhm.
Darnold. So those two are the MVPs at wide receiver for me. Josh
Yeah.
Allen is actually the number one quarterback, and it's not that close. He actually has more points than Stafford
Oh.
by maybe 2 points a game. So as unsexy
Oh.
as it is to call his name out, Josh Allen is your sort of your QB MVP with Matt Stafford in tow, though, right? Because part of the
Right.
MVP is that you didn't quite see it coming, and then it's
Yes.
or you grumbled and you mumbled when you ended up having to draft Stafford, like, Christ, right? But then
Yes.
you're like all season long, you're going, hey, wait, this is working out, right? So it makes him MVP-ish that way. So that's cool. And of
Yeah.
course, defense, right? It's a position, and we have an all-star,
Mm.
and it's the Seahawks, and it's not even close again, right? They have about a 20-point edge on the next best team. And so let's just look at this. They have, I think, like it's 157 fantasy points so far.
Wow.
So solid 10 points a week. That's
Wow.
impressive.
Right.
And realize that makes him the equivalent of, coincidentally, Kenny Walker III as a skill position player.
Wow.
Same number of points almost. And the other one
Wow.
that's equal to that is Cortland Sutton.
Wow. Okay.
So they
So they're
really
giving you as
are.
many points as a skill player, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they really are a defensive MVP, the Seattle Seahawks, for me. Also, just a
Sure.
quick note. I know we're not doing a big fantasy rundown, but just anybody who's in their playoffs should note that
Mm.
Pearsall, Njoku, Kamara, Rice, and of course Devontae Adams are all out for today. So you got to come up
Oh.
with some fill-ins, and you know who they are this time of the season. I'm not going to belabor it.
That's a fact, man. I'm telling you, fantasy up and down this season, especially with the injuries. So anybody who's in their playoffs, who's in their championships weekend coming up, be smart with your moves and make sure that you know what's going on and what's happening. Thank you, Unc,
Read
for
the
letting
injury
me know.
report. Read the
Yeah.
injury report before games kick off today. And again, like if you have the luxury of a deep bench and whatnot, take a look at matchups. Otherwise, go with the horses that brought you to the dance.
That's a fact. Go with the horses who brought you to the dance. And that's a great way to start off our lines and spreads. You're talking about watching the matchups, Unc. You have an eye on the matchups. Let us know, man. What are some games we should circle in and maybe put a little shillings, a little some, a little holiday joy on it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
At first, I thought Cleveland might have a chance to cover against the Bills today. But when I
Mm,
ran the numbers, even though the Bills are on the road, like the Bills are rounding into better shape. They've been solving their
yeah, yeah.
defensive problems. And Myles Garrett, man, we were all hyped up for him to get that sack record, and he's gone
Yes,
cold.
sir.
And
Yeah.
and Josh Allen doesn't go down easily, although we did see a game earlier this year where he did get sacked fairly frequently. But I don't think that's going to be the game today. I don't think that's going to be the story. I think that the Bills continue to keep the ball out of Cleveland's hands, period.
Mm,
With either through turnovers, but most certainly through James Cook in the running game.
right.
So I expect Buffalo to dominate the time of possession. And so 10.5
Mm.
points doesn't seem that intimidating. We've been seeing some of the better teams getting and covering larger double-digit point spreads in the last couple of weeks. I
Yeah,
took a
that's something I was gonna mention.
bath last weekend.
We talked about some large point spreads, but there was actually a lot of covering of those point spreads
I
last
took a
week.
bath last week with my bias against double-digit spreads.
Yeah,
Some of them seem crazy, but like I
and it
think
worked
like
out.
three or
Yeah.
four of them, at least 3 out of 4 of them, or 5 out of 6 of them, like they covered, man.
Yeah,
So
I was
yeah,
shocked too. By the way, you are not wrong about that because even me, I had my doubts when I was putting in my picks. I didn't think the teams would cover, but they covered. There was
yeah,
some beatdowns last week, brother. There
right,
was some like big time
yeah.
spankings, bro.
Because
You know what
I
I mean?
think the separation is starting to happen. Like the teams that are good are now
Yes.
reliably good, right? They're
Yes,
kicking
they are.
butt. So I think the Bills cover the spread against Cleveland today.
Right.
Bills are 7-7 against the spread. Cleveland's 5-9. So Cleveland actually outperforms against the spread, but like,
Mm,
give me a break and take the over on the 41, right? Bills might score 41 points all on their own.
yeah,
um,
I agree.
Now, games that are interesting or that I like or that are challenging.
Mm.
Tampa Bay at Carolina is going to be a fascinating game. Carolina's at
Mm.
home and they're 3-point underdogs to what
Yeah.
I call a very fraudulent Tampa Bay team. Tampa Bay also currently holds the tiebreaker, and it's a very slim tiebreaker. They're down to the tier where they're looking at the quality of their wins over common opponents to separate the two teams, right? And right
Wow.
now, Tampa Bay holds that at 7-7, holds that final
Oh,
playoff or holds the division title, which is also basically the final playoff position. But it's automatic, right? But there's no
yeah.
wild card life for any NFC team if you don't win the division. So this is a battle for the division today. Figure
Yes,
out
it
who's
is.
gonna take this division. And so Carolina, I'm expecting to come out and basically punch Tampa Bay in the mouth as best they
Mm.
do. And do what they do, which is like it's some crazy hairy game. Take the over in this game, absolutely.
Mm.
But so I expect well over 30 points to be scored, probably by both teams. But I
Oh,
expect
wow.
Carolina with its 8-6 record against the spread, they overperform, and Tampa Bay with its 5-9 record against the spread, and who is on the road to Carolina, like. Yeah, I feel fairly confident about Carolina doing what they have to do today to both win the game, the division, and cover that point spread.
Yeah.
So that one's going to be a wild and woolly game to watch, man. I highly recommend it just for viewing, just for football pleasure, right? I think that's going to be a really good game.
I agree. I think
Um,
it's going to be huge because both teams are playing for that division crown. It's a big game. Big game.
Now, this one is I'll call this one like the gut pick because
Mm.
something really weird is afoot, and that's
Mm.
Cincinnati at Miami.
Oh,
Miami is a 4-point underdog to Cincinnati
yeah.
today, who are
Right.
6-8 against the spread. Miami, who is 7-7 against the spread, however, improbably because what are they like 4-10 on the season, something like that?
Yeah.
Um,
They're like 6-8. They're not good. Not a good
yeah,
team.
so they've overperformed slightly. Okay, 6-8. Okay, right. So
Mm.
better team, right, against a
Mm.
definitely terrible Bengals team because who are what now? Are they
They're
4-10?
4-10. They're out of it.
Right.
They're both out of the
So,
playoffs. Yeah.
but yet they're favored by 4 points on the road against this Miami team, and the math doesn't really back
Yeah,
it up. The math
you're
doesn't really
correct.
back it
They
up
are
like at
favored.
all.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
so I'm
they are
thinking that
favored.
it's because Quinn Ewers is starting, right? The
Right.
rookie QB out of Texas is going to be starting today in over Tua. So,
Yeah,
but here's the thing, though, right? So obviously, bettors are responding to that, and they're thinking that he's just going to get teed off on all day, rookie quarterback. And I'm like,
right.
by whom? The Bengals don't really have a pass rush, and the other thing that
Right.
they don't have is any film on Quinn Ewers. I'm like, advantage Miami.
Yeah, fair point. I didn't think about that.
So
You're right. They don't have
I'm
film.
tentative. I'm taking Miami +4
Mhm.
at home in that game.
Mhm.
And the only reason I even bring it up is just because it's kind of interesting, right? It's wonky to talk about. I don't guarantee the result in any type of way, right? But that is definitely something to think about if you're like if you're playing the slate today and you're picking all these games. Consider
Right.
some of those factors.
Fair play.
New England at Baltimore.
Mm,
I know Baltimore
that's an
wants to play
interesting game.
the spoiler, and their
Ooh,
defense, as we noted earlier, is playing better.
right.
And they're 3-point favorites against this New England team, who on paper should be, considered to be
You
a
take it
vastly
away.
superior team.
Yes, sir.
So that's intriguing. And also, New England is 8-5-1 against the spread. Your
Mhm.
Ravens are 5-9 against the spread, like second worst in the league.
That's pretty bad.
So I'm saying take the over in this game. I have a feeling this is going to be kind of a wild game, probably.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure of the outcome. I'm really not positive of the outcome, but I am saying New England
Okay.
+3. I am saying I'm
Okay.
taking New England +3. Um, Are there any other games you're interested in? Those are the only ones I've really highlighted, sort of worthy.
Mine that I looked at was the Monday night game, Niners versus Colts, and I think Colts are playing at home. Niners are favored by 5.5. In
Mm-hmm.
my opinion, the over/under is 45. I might go under 46, my mistake. I might go under on that because I don't trust that Colts offense. But
Yep.
still, the Niners,
I
I don't know. The Niners are
I've got the
they've
under on this as
underperformed, man.
well.
Yeah, I got the under on that, but I don't know. Do you think they covered at 5.5? I'm not too sure about that. Talk to me. I think it might be
Um,
tighter than you think. You know what I mean?
San Francisco's 8-5-1 against the spread. Indy 7-5-2 against the spread.
Right.
5.5 points. Yeah, I think San Francisco covers that. San Francisco is fighting hard to stay in the playoffs. It's just a superior division, superior like the crucible that San Francisco has had to play through this year is,
Right.
believe it or not, worse than the crucible that Indianapolis has had to play through this year, only
Oh,
because of the competition in the AFC
yeah.
versus the competition specifically in the NFC West. And I
Yes.
just think that, I think that San Francisco's overall discipline and schemes is too much for Indianapolis to compete with. I don't think the Disney ending comes into effect here with Rivers this week. He showed he was tough. Give the guy credit, man. He did show that he was tough enough.
Yes, it did.
44-year-old guy out there. Like that was always his thing. He was a big body back there. And he shows that he's not intimidated. In fact, he was reveling. He was almost ecstatic about taking that first hit. Like he said, it's like he described it as like a jolt of lightning. It's like living again, right? It's like this is how these people are different than us. They are just simply wired differently than like 99.999% of the population that way. So Philip Rivers is amusing in that regard, but I don't think it necessarily ends that well. I mean, but we said the same thing against an AFC West opponent last week. In fact, the best AFC West opponent last week in Seattle. Does the fairy tale Disney movie continue or not? I don't think it does. I think I think San Francisco shows its mettle and covers at 5.5 points.
My last game that I want to talk about is that Jags versus Broncos game. Unc, I want to give you this credit because you were early on this. You are a Jacksonville Jaguars truther, brother. You were early on that train. The Jags, I think this is like their 5th game winning streak, something crazy like that. They're going against the 12-2 Denver Broncos. Broncos are favored by 3.5. Over under is 47. I'm picking the over.
Whatever it is, take the over.
We taking it over, Unc. We taking it over, Unc. I'm telling you, this is gonna be such a good. I think that might be game of the week. Broncos versus Jags. Let me tell you something. Trevor Lawrence, man, playing amazing. Travis Etienne playing amazing. That offense is rolling, and let me give credit again to that defense of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have started this push, late season push, to win this division. Unc, what are your thoughts about this game?
It's funny. It's funny. I knew we would get to this game, right? But it's funny. It's like I have asterisks all over it, and I still skipped it over, man. Oh yeah, this is the game of the week in my opinion. For betting purposes, like as a challenge, right? To assess it, but also just the sheer talent of the two teams. These are like, in my opinion, these are the two hottest teams in the AFC right now, and to have and Jacksonville is like totally competent on the road, as we saw earlier on this year when they went to where was it, San Francisco and won. Right?
Yes,
like they're
the
road warriors. These guys, man. So Jacksonville. The Liam Cohen experiment is what I'm calling Jacksonville this year. And we're seeing a lot of consistencies with the way they're rounding into shape compared to how Tampa Bay played last year, right? Better than they're playing this year. So Jacksonville is going to take their 9-5 record against the spread into Mile High. Against the Broncos, who are 6-7-1 against the spread, right? So as we've noted before on this pod, Broncos win games. They don't really care about the bettors. one more thing to think about, right? As far as trends go. So Jacksonville at Broncos, plus 3.5 points, man. I just gave it away.
Yeah.
I'm taking Jacksonville here, plus three and a
Oh,
half,
you gave it
right?
plus three and a
Right?
half. Okay, Jags.
That
Okay.
3 point
Okay.
field goal win at the end, right? Isn't going to
Yes,
save
sir.
you, right? You're not going to cover the spread with that. And that's probably how it's going to go down if the Broncos
Mm,
manage to defend the home turf today.
right.
But I think just in pure football terms, it's
Mm,
hard to say this, man, because like the Bronx really have pulled it out like all the time. But there's 2 losses on that sheet, and I think
yeah.
Jacksonville is capable of delivering another one, man. So yeah, I'm gonna be cheering hard.
Oh,
I'm gonna be
oh
cheering
yeah.
hard for Duval County today.
Yes, sir. Duval. What they say down there, Duval.
Duval. Yeah, yeah. It's
I'm
only the out of towners that give you that extra second or third U in there, man. It's a Duval. And you can't
I'm
forget
gonna
the
say,
long A at the end. It's Duval. Yeah,
uh,
Duval County, man. Duval County. It's funny how it's because
yeah,
all of
ugly.
Jacksonville is Duval County. It's
Yeah.
geographically the largest urban area in the United States, but it's only because
Oh.
it's like the whole county is Jacksonville, right? But it's actually the town is actually small, but all of Duval County is Jacksonville. So it's like it's kind of
Yeah.
unique, man. And it's taken on that moniker, man. Different people have attempted its pronunciation. Liam Cohen failed poorly, badly when he attempted it. Don't try it, buddy. If you ain't from here, don't try it. So
Definitely, I
yeah,
won't try it. I will not.
but
Yeah.
it's that Jaguar team, man. They've always been a gritty kind of team that's pulled out some big wins over the years. And how I really know that Liam Cohen is great is because of Trevor Lawrence rounding back into shape again. That poor guy
Yes.
has had like
Yeah.
4 different offensive coordinators in 4 years. It's almost like Philadelphia up there, right?
Right.
Right. So, and now he's rounding into shape. He's playing great. The running game's coming in. And the big difference, Jacoby Myers. Because I've been a
And
Jacoby
he
Myers
just got paid.
truther
Jacoby
myself for
Myers.
years. I've been
Yeah,
like,
you called it out.
Jacoby Myers is like getting a
Mm,
raw deal in Vegas. He's getting a raw deal with the Raiders. If he could just go to the right team, everybody would see what a great wide receiver that guy is. And now look at
yes.
him go. Right. And who has he brought alive? By taking over the middle of the field, that releases Brian Thomas
GTR.
Jr., who's
Yes, he does.
he's afraid to go over the middle, that guy. But now he can be the X, just down the sideline, buddy. Just go deep, right? Because Jacoby got all
Yes.
this. Jacoby has all of this in the middle of the field, and it's been wonderful.
Yes.
So I think Jacksonville comes through today.
Man, that would be a huge win for Jacksonville if they are to come back. In other words, this would be the Broncos' first loss in like 3 months, something
Yep.
nuts like that, because
But
they haven't
don't
lost
they
since
feel
December.
due? Don't they
Yeah,
feel due?
it
If
seems so.
if they're gonna make a championship run, shouldn't they get like one little loss out of the way just so they can like shake it off, so they're not like taking an undefeated streak into the playoffs, right?
Yeah, it's giving
I'm
me
saying it's a
negative
trap
vibes.
game. Trap game for the
Trap game.
Broncos. It shouldn't be, but it will be.
Mm. It's gonna be fun to see what happens because, like, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. This is perfectly teed up to see 2 of the hottest teams in football really going at it.
It's gonna be
And
an
my thing,
amazing game.
I
Lawrence and
this
Knicks
week,
play similar types of football, right? So,
yes,
oh
sir.
man, it's gonna be
Yes,
good.
I'm telling you right now, you already know you and me gonna be texting throughout that game. You already know what time it is. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, buddy. Well, it's
Oh
funny.
man,
I got my nephews. I'm
yeah.
introducing my 2 adolescent nephews to football
Mm-hmm.
today. I'm gonna have my 2
Nice.
nephews come over. We usually go bowling and the movies and all that type of stuff. So I cleaned
Mm.
up my space. I'm gonna clean up my act, and I'm gonna be Unk. Literally, I'm gonna be Unk football this afternoon, and I'm gonna teach the next generation about the NFL, the red zone, all that type of
Oh yeah.
stuff, right? But the 4 o'clock window, that's gonna be Unk time for
Yes,
just
sir.
Unk watching the Steelers and watching the rest of that 4 p.m. window, which is going to be nuts, man. There are some great
Oh
games
man.
in that 4 p.m. window. But yeah, it's going to be Unk and the nephew times over here. I'm going to teach the next generation about the NFL in the 1 o'clock window.
And I like that. I like that, man. I think you got to talk to them at some point about the college football playoffs. Let's talk about that right quick.
Yeah, dude.
Like a little college football talk. Let me tell you something, man. I personally, I'm gonna say this. I think Nick Saban said something similar, man. We can't just let these teams walk into the playoffs, man. I'm sorry, man. James Madison, I'm talking about Tulane. I understand the logic of letting all these teams in, but brother, we need the top 12 to be in there, man. I wanted to see Oregon face somebody like Notre Dame or Texas. I would have been happy to see Vanderbilt play Old Miss. You know what I'm saying? I would have been happy to see that because guess what? We saw the Sooners versus Alabama. That was a great game, Unc. I like that. I like that comeback, the 17-point comeback. You know what I'm saying?
Epic game.
Even though it was competitive and a little slow, I didn't mind Miami versus Texas A&M. I want to see big time football programs versus big time football programs. Tulane should not have been there with Ole Miss. James Madison should not have been on the same field as Oregon. It was we as fans of the game, we were kind of cheated out of what good matchups. Let me tell you something. Oklahoma versus Bama, that looked like a college football playoff game. That's what we want on. Any quick hot thoughts, quick hits concerning this college football playoff? You know what I mean?
Oh, just a couple. Um,
Mm,
my first thing is that with regards to Tulane and James Madison, calling them the
right.
Make a Wish Foundation teams, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, can I go play a real college football game?
Love
Anyway,
it.
so okay, but this is the mistake that the committee has made, right? They are
Right.
trying to replicate the NCAA tournaments kind of March Madness thing. It doesn't translate to football, right?
Right.
Football,
Exactly.
like
Exactly.
I'm sorry, there ain't no room for junior, right? Unless they're going to expand the tournament to 64 teams, 32 teams, okay, then maybe okay. We start to look at
Right.
that type of thing, right? But if you're just talking about the 12 best teams in a playoff, like ain't no room for no damn Make-A-Wish Foundation teams in that rubric because it
That's
means
what I'm
two
saying,
teams
bro.
that are vastly superior are not
Thank
involved
you.
in this tournament. And that
Thank you.
cheapens it and it weakens it. So I'm sure this will be one of the kinks that they sort out because I'm not the only person to point this out. So yeah,
Mm.
of course. So of course, they got rolled. They got
They
steamrolled,
got
right?
rolled, bro. They got rolled, man.
And it
They
wasn't
got rolled.
remotely entertaining,
Not at all.
right?
Not at all.
So yeah, it was kind of like they were like homecoming games. So it was crazy. But as far as the rest of it went, right? Like Alabama, whoa, dude, didn't they silence their critics? Whew.
Right?
We
Thank
all
you.
said they had no place in the tournament because
Yeah,
of the way
man. Yeah,
Georgia
we talked
embarrassed
about it.
them. And
Yeah.
like that and man, De Beer, just last week he was talking
Oh,
about I want to stay in Alabama forever. Right? It's almost like he was challenging. He's like he's challenging the boosters to get rid of him if he loses next week, right? But he didn't
right.
lose. He didn't
He did
lose,
not.
right? And
He
he
did not.
reminded us of the coach that took Washington to the Natty, right? So
Right.
wow, impressive. Remember, this is on the road. It was not a neutral site game. They were in
No.
Oklahoma in late December. The wind was whipping. It was cold, right? Like that was an
Yeah.
impressive road win by Alabama. So you got to give it up to them. The other game I actually really loved that it's like an
Mm.
absolute instant classic was that Miami game, right? Like,
Yes.
but you have to love defense for that to be an instant classic,
Thank
right? A
you.
lot
Thank
of
you,
people
brother.
probably turn that game off going like, gee, I'll just catch the
I liked
highlights,
it too.
right?
I
But
liked it
no,
too.
man, that was an incredible matching up of defenses, just going at it
Yes.
hammer and tong until finally one damn broke in the end, right? It's just amazing game.
And I'm telling you right now, man, what we're talking about a Miami team that a lot of people were questioning should they be in the college football playoffs. They proved their critics wrong, man. They silenced them, especially that defense, man. Such a dominant defense to end the
Not what we
game
were
with a
expecting.
pick. We did not expect that. And by the way, people say, even to just look visually, Texas A&M have a great home field advantage. That crowd looks
The 12th
totally
man,
in the game. The 12th man, that's the term. They look totally in the game. And
they're
for
the
Miami
original
to
12th
quiet the
man.
noise. Were they actually before the Seahawks? Were they
Oh
actually?
yeah, long before. That's a tradition that goes back to the Aggies
Oh,
have like their ROTC or whatever it is. Like there's some military aspect to it, whatever. But they
right.
always, yeah, for like probably 100 years,
Mm,
they show
wow.
up in uniform en
Mm.
masse at Aggies games, and that's why they started calling them the 12th man because they're like in a uniform, identifiable.
Wow, I did not know that because let me tell you something. To win on the road like that, Miami, that was super impressive to me because you're right. That 12th man thing, it looked very serious. That Aggie crowd. And yes, you're right.
Whew.
I'm a fan of defense. I like a good defense, man, because Miami, they are looking good, man. And going into this,
That was a
this is the
gutsy
first
win.
Mario Cristobal's first, I think, college football playoff win, and I think that's huge because that's going to lead them to
Oh man, I
a
loved
great
it.
playoff. Just one thing I want to mention, by the way, here's something interesting. There's a guy from Ottawa who plays for Miami, Akeem
Oh, no
Mesidor.
kidding.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's a
What's his
defensive
name?
end. Akeem Mesidor, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He's from Ottawa, man. He's a defensive end from Miami. So I think I might be low key
Awesome.
cheering for Miami, man. It's an Ottawa guy. You
Right
know what I
on.
mean?
Welcome to the club, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you again, this is going to be very interesting to see what happens. I think the big time game of next week is going to be Alabama versus the Kurt Signetti led Indiana game. That's going to be massive. I think college football is looking a lot of fun, Unc. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That man, the way I've got it playing out, I basically got Georgia and Indiana playing for the
Ooh,
Natty, with
nice,
like
nice, nice,
Georgia
nice.
coming out on top. But I think
Mm,
Indiana's going to win its games, man. And that's not that
right.
man. They're going to be going up against Bama, right? That's their next game. Yeah,
That's the
I'm
next
pretty
game.
sure Indiana handles that business. But what a statement game that's going to be for that program.
Yes,
They're
yes.
starting
It's
to
going to
stack
be
them up.
they're starting to stack them up, man. And when you think about Indiana in college, you always think about basketball. They're basketball
Basketball,
state.
and
But to
that's it.
see what Kurt Signetti and them have done, man, I got to give them that respect. But we got to give our respect again to our top 5 teams, Unc, of the season, man. Who are we liking? We are going into week 16, Unc. How are we feeling? We texted actually about this, about our top 5 switching up or changing. But I'm gonna
Yeah.
let you handle the actually, you know what? Actually you go first. Let me let you go
Yeah, I think
first,
it's
Unc.
my turn to go first.
Yeah, it's your turn, Unc. What are your thoughts about your top 5 teams going
Man, I've got an
into
honorable
week?
mention in there for the Jags. I don't normally do that, but with
Mm,
with putting the Bears in at 11-4 with their points
mm,
4 points against, right? Like eleven
yes,
and
sir.
four, and they're like they're a little bit over 500 now with their points 4 points against. But the Jags who are 10-4, man, they're
Mm,
solidly in the green light for the points 4 points against, right? Jags look complete.
they
Um,
look really good.
but the
Mm,
Bears have the better record, and we've seen them 2 weeks in a row
mm,
play lights out ball, winning games the way they had to win them,
right.
but winning them, right? So I've grudgingly got the Bears in there at 11-4.
Mm,
I've got the Pats at 11-3, who did like we said they would last week, right? They said they would tell us
right.
something about going up against better competition, and they got
Right.
beat by the Bills, right?
They
Who
did.
are not in this top 5.
No.
So I've got them because remember at one point I grudgingly had to give them like number 1 in this top 5, and they're down at number
Yeah,
4 now because this is a fluid week to week top 5.
facts.
So I've got the Rams at number 3 because how
Mm,
else are you going to play it after they lose to the number 2 team, the Seahawks, right? We've been flipping them back and
right.
forth in the top 5 for a while, but they're still both
Facts.
hanging in there, right? Seahawks are
Yeah.
12-3 at number 2, and the Rams are 11-4 now. A
Mm,
couple of heartbreaking losses in there. We've all talked about them, but they're still losses, right? And they're second in their
right.
division, so they can't be number 1 over the other team that they're second to in that
Mm,
division in this top 5. So I've got the Broncos. I've got the Broncos at number 1. Welcome to number 1, Broncos. You earned it.
mm.
They're the AFC team, so it's I've had some bias. We've had some bias against them taking the number 1 spot, but it's hard to argue with them after last week, man. That was an NFC team that they curb stomped effectively.
Yeah.
That wasn't a curb stomp, but it was a decisive win.
Yeah. And
So
that's something I want to give credit to the Denver Broncos for. They stepped up to the competition because in that game, it looked like they
we've
were about to lose.
criticized them for playing down to their competition. So
Yes.
fortunately, this week, last week, good competition came to town. So we got the
They
best out of
played
the
up.
Broncos.
Yeah, and that's why this game again is going to be so interesting, Jags versus Broncos, because you're dealing with a potential playoff. That's a playoff matchup, bro.
Exactly.
That's a playoff.
It
It's a
is.
playoff
It's
matchup.
very much like a playoff game today, and exactly.
Yeah.
And if the Broncos hold to form, like we were just saying, we should get the best Bronco edition of the Broncos today because we're getting a very good edition of the Jaguar team, right? So,
Yes, sir.
so excited for that game.
By the way, we have similar lists, but we have things a bit changed, a bit moved around. I want to give my honorable mention of a team that actually fell out of my top 5. Talking about the Patriots. Patriots, they are honorable mention, and the Niners. This is a quiet team, the Niners. This is the most quiet 10-4 team I've ever seen in my life.
So many injuries.
10-4. And they are not in my top 5 list, or a lot of people top 5.
So many injuries, but yet they're 10-4.
10-4, man. Give them credit. By the way, something about Christian McCaffrey. I think he might go 1,000 receiving and 1,000 rushing. That's something that we should watch.
Marshall
I think
Faulk.
he has 800. Marshall Faulk right there. Thank you. Yeah, Roger Craig. I think it was Craig on the Niners. Something
Roger
like that.
Craig. Yeah, very good. Look at you, Junior, going one generation even further back than I did. Look at you.
I'm trying to get in where I fit in, Unc. Yeah, I mean?
Look at you, man. Oh, man. Beats me to the Roger Craig punch. Oh, impressive.
Yes, sir. I'm going to give them their credit. But number 5 for me, the Jags. I think the Jags deserve to be on the top 5 list now. They are playing amazing football. 4 or 5 game winning streak. I got the Jags at number 5. Chicago Bears. I was leaning between the Bears or Green Bay, but after yesterday's game, I thought to put the Bears at number 4.
Yeah.
That was such a big time win, and I think they might be number 1 in all of the NFC. Actually, no, maybe number 2. I think Seattle is number 1.
Seattle's number 1.
They're up there. Yeah. Number 3, we got this like the Rams. The Rams. Shout out to the Rams, but to beat a man, you have to beat the man. And unfortunately, they did not beat the man. So they're number 3 on my list. Broncos are number 2, right? And a little bit surprising because you have Broncos number 1. We kind of like flipped because a few weeks ago I had Broncos number 1.
Yeah.
But number 2 for me is the Broncos because the Seahawks, in my mind, they proved themselves to be number 1 on my list. Seattle Seahawks, especially with that win versus LA, they showed me that, hey, man, they are not in a mess with, man. That Seahawks, not only defense, but their offense, they are a very tough team to play with. So I got Seahawks number 1, Broncos number 2, Rams number 3, Bears number 4, and Jacksonville's Jaguars to round out my top 5 for week 16. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
no,
sir.
solid. Can't really argue with. Like I said, Jags are my honorable mention, right? So, yeah.
We're definitely going to learn about the Jags later today.
Oh, man.
I appreciate you for this, man. I appreciate everybody for watching. Again, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, share the stream. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. It's been Unc and Nephew, man. Week 16. We made it far, bro. We made it this far, Unc. Yeah, man.
4 seasons. Yeah, man. We just hopefully we'll keep hopefully we'll touch base again with crew over the playoffs. We should get together a couple times, maybe handicap some games.
Oh yes, definitely through the playoffs. Obviously, the episodes are going to be shorter, a little more concise, a little more to the games. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Any last words for the people, Unc?
Just one love. Be safe. Stay warm. It's cold out here, and and to all our American peeps, stay strong. Appreciate you, and man, just everybody enjoy the games, man. Have some fun. Football's supposed to be fun.
Yes, sir. Football's supposed to be fun, and if we don't see y'all, Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everybody. And
Merry
Terry, here's
Christmas
our
to
love
everybody.
message.
Absolutely. This is the last time we're going to see you guys before the holidays end. So to you and
Mhm.
all your loved ones, wish you all a very merry and happy Christmas and a happy new year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's been Unk and Fuse season 4, and we out. Yes, sir.